Tonight on Locked on Astros, Houston adds a new arm, Ryan Weiss, fresh off a dominant run with the KBO. A power righty with swing and miss stuff joins the mix as the Astros continue shaping their offseason blueprint. And we're going to talk about the latest hot stove chaos around the MLB. Let's start right now.
Jainel Diaz, this is Locked on Astros.
Hello and welcome to Locked on Astros, your daily Astros podcast. Here are your hosts, Eric the Man Huysman and Brett H-Town Wheelhouse Chancey.
We are Locked on Houston Astros. We hope that you join us for a daily Locked on Astros podcast. My name is Eric Huysman. Find me on X, Eric Talks Stros. Find Brett at H-Town Wheelhouse. You can find the Locked on Astros podcast as part of your daily routine. Whether it's on YouTube, go ahead and subscribe to us. Go and make us first listen. Apple, Odyssey, Spotify, wherever you listen to your podcasts, go and check us out. We are part of the number one podcast network out there, the Locked on Podcast Network, and we are the number one Astros podcast out there. Thank you for making us your first listen. Apple, Odyssey, Spotify, wherever you listen to your podcast. Thank you for checking us out. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. If you want to be right in the middle of the action this season, visit FanDuel.com and place your NFL live bets all season long. So I know the Astros signed, they finally made do with what we've been talking about for about a week. They signed Ryan Weiss. This is something that I know that a lot of people would be like, who? But we'll talk about who he is and why this makes sense for Houston Astros. And it's a contract for 2026 with a team option for 2027. We'll talk about what that means. Are they done shopping for a starting pitcher for the rest of this offseason? And we'll briefly talk about the draft as the MLB released basically the first round of the draft. Things could change as the qualifying offer players are signed elsewhere, but we kind of know where the Astros will be picking in the first round. So we'll talk about that a little bit later.
Yeah, definitely. And we will like to have those first round picks, and we like to have that compensatory pick given to us from the PPI, rules in baseball. And thank you, Hunter Brown. The team needed that, after missing the first and second round for those two seasons. That is still something that is real. And, this club, Eric, is really at a precipice. It is at a point of where does it go? Because we no longer can really rely on the guys that we brought through our system. A lot of them are gone, but we have Correa and Altuve back. And so are these the two guys that are going to be the core that bring in guys when they bring in Weiss, when they make a trade, if they make a bigger arm move, which I think they will? Correa and Altuve will be the guys that will be the glue that I think they build around, and that will fortify a team, because I think they want to win the division. But I don't know if their aspirations are beyond that. So let's talk about Ryan Weiss. Ryan Weiss fits perfectly. Not only does he fit monetarily, because it's not a big signing, it's a guy that has improved his peripherals over the last two seasons when going to the KBO. And you absolutely love seeing an American pitcher go to a foreign league and absolutely dominate. And yeah, the KBO is not MLB, and we know that. We don't pretend that that's true. But we know, with the history of this club, with the pitching lab that the Houston Astros are known for, that this is a signing that really could pay dividends. And look, this guy right here could be a starter. This guy could be an innings eater in middle relief. We'll have to see how the Astros will use him. I'm just excited that they're getting a guy that has improved a lot of things.
Well, I think what you're getting in Weiss, you're getting somebody that's shown a lot of growth over his time. He got to AAA with the Diamondbacks and the Royals, so he never really got to big leagues. Then he went overseas to Correa, and this is something that he developed. He kind of learned how to master his pitching style. He knew that he couldn't pitch them, so you have that 93 to 94 miles per hour fastball. Then you have the second pitch they primarily relies on is that slider. And so you have that. Then you have, of course, the curveball, the changeup. I've read that he also has occasional forkball. So he has pretty much 4 or 5 pitches that he can throw. And this is a guy that with the change of speeds, you can kind of fool some hitters. And yes, so like you mentioned, think of the KBO as quadruple A. If triple A is where the Space Cowboys are, just imagine Sacramento, whatever they are. No, I'm just kidding. That would be the quadruple A team. But it just, yes, there are some good players over there. But at the same time, Cody Pounce, he signed a 3-year deal with the Blue Jays today. And so they're getting noticed. So if you're going overseas and you're having success, especially like Bounce did, I mean, he was struck out 259 hitters last year in 100 innings. So if you have some success overseas, teams are going to go and give you some money. So the Astros gave Weiss $2.6 million guaranteed in 2026, and with the team option for 2027. It could get up to 10 million, so 7 million, 7 something for the for 2027, basically.
Yeah, exactly. Ryan Weiss, this guy, 207 strikeouts and 178 and 1/2 innings pitched in the KBO. One of the things I like, Eric, one of the things I don't like is pitchers who walk a lot. This guy improved. He had control issues, but he improved. Look at that, 2.8 base on balls per 9 inning. That's great. That is a great stat. And to go along with that, his Ks per 9, 10.4 as a starter. I mean, that is a strong set of statistics. And look, he's got movement. He's got a sweeper. He moves through the zone. He's got swing and miss stuff. And earlier, I saw one of our commenters, J-Rob, he's usually on here, and he was asking about how hard he throws. But I need to say that it really doesn't matter how hard you throw. It matters where the ball moves in the zone. Because exactly. Because if the ball's moving hard through the zone, but there's no movement, it's going to get hit. Whether it's 103 miles an hour or 93 miles an hour, it's going to get hit. So it's about movement. And it's about getting that ball in the zone to where it rises up in the zone. And apparently, from what other players are saying, is that it is he is a nasty pitcher. He's got good stuff, and he missed a lot of bats. And I don't see why he wouldn't have that kind of success over here. I know better hitters. I know better league. Obviously, the best of the best play Major League Baseball. But this, I think, is a great signing. There's a lot of people that are like, oh, whatever, man. I wanted Ranger Suarez, and I wanted this guy. Hey, just pump the brakes a little bit, kids. We still have the winter meetings coming up this weekend, and we don't know what they are or aren't going to do. There are still possibilities out there. This isn't the only guy they're going to add because they need more pitching.
And according to Rome, this is Jaime, he's saying this, but the Astros senior director of amateur scouting, Derek Lanier, he actually drafted Weiss back in 2018 when he was with the Diamondbacks. So he knows perfectly well what he's capable of because he actually drafted him. So, of course, he's a little bit older. He's a little bit more developed. So this is a low-risk, high-reward type of opportunity. The Astros went out and got Nate Pearson earlier, another low risk, high reward type of guy. You're not paying him a lot, but if he succeeds, then this fills a role, a need that the Astros have. You have a Framber Valdez. No matter what you think about him, he ate up a lot of innings. He was a good pitcher for the Houston Astros. And so you cannot fill him with one guy unless you're going to go out there and spend a lot of money like basically the Rays. Sorry, I keep on trying to say the Rays. The Jays did with Dylan Cease, and it wasn't really as bad as we thought it was. We'll talk about Dylan Cease's actual contract in a little bit, but what he's coming for is for rotation depth. Maybe if he doesn't succeed at that, then put him in the bullpen. But this is another option that Joe Espada has because before this, you really didn't have a lot. But now you have a guy that has some success overseas, yes, but give this guy a chance. See what he could do in spring training. And next, we'll go ahead and talk about we'll talk about Weiss some more. But what happens if he if he is successful? Are the Astros really going to stop shopping right now? I don't think so. We'll talk about that next. Thank you for making Locked On Astros podcast your first listen every day.
That's right. This episode is brought to you by FanDuel. FanDuel.com is here for you today. And NFL Sunday moves fast. One big play. Suddenly everything feels different. That's what makes live betting with FanDuel so exciting. You're not just watching the game, you're reacting to the game in real time. With FanDuel, you can place bets as action unfolds. Every drive, every momentum swing, every highlight momentum, like every Derek Stingley Jr. interception or every CJ Stroud touchdown. Live betting is best when the game starts to shift and when a receiver gets hot, or the Texans are going for their 5th straight win against Kansas City this week. You've got live spreads and money lines that adjust instantly, player props, updates, as guys heat up. You can bet on when Woody Mark's next touchdown is going to be, or Nick Chubb, or Nico Collins. I mean, the sky's the limit. It keeps you locked in every snap, every drive, every possibility. So if you want to be right in the middle of the action this season, visit FanDuel.com and place your NFL live bets all season long. FanDuel, the game moves fast, and so can you.
Hey guys, thank you for making us the part of the #1 podcast network out there, Locked On. We are the #1 Astros podcast out there. And thank you for making us your first listen. Apple, Odyssey, Spotify, wherever you listen to your podcasts, go and check us out. We're going to be here all off season between Brad and I. We have over 18 years of podcasting experience, and we will be here to kind of talk you through this offseason. It's going to be a weird one. Instead of going out and spending $210 million on Dylan Cease, you're going to go ahead and go out and get people like Nate Pearson, and then also Weiss, like the Astros did today too. So it's just going to be a situation like a weird offseason. So we'll see what happens over. The Astros just have to figure out where to go from here. And Brett, I wanted to ask you, with the signing of Weiss, now that it's official, or I guess it's not official because the Astros have not announced it yet. Do you think the Astros are done?
Oh, heck no. No, there's absolutely no way. Not with the way that Jake Myers is on the trading block, not with them needing a frontline starter. This does not replace Framber Valdez. That is the glaring hole in this rotation. It's not that you have Hunter Brown. It's not that you have other guys in there, Eric Getty, Jason Alexander, Christian Javier, Lance McCullers Jr. No, those are not the guys that are going to fill those holes. You've got that hole of the 180 plus innings with Framber Valdez, possibly 200 innings. Now, can someone like a Ryan Weiss be that guy? He can be the part of the puzzle to being that guy, but he is not that guy. They absolutely, I think, have to go out and get a starter that is going to be a 2 or a 3 guy at the very least, Eric. That is how I see this. This team can ill afford to go forward. Now, if they're short-sighted and their only goal is to win the division, then maybe you go get a position player, a left-handed bat, someone like Ariz that's a free agent, someone like Brendan Donovan who they're talking to, and then you call it good and hope everybody makes it to the post. But I hope they're not that short-sighted, because I think the pump is being primed right now for them to go out and get somebody. The question is, do you go after someone with that qualifying offer? Do you then want to go after somebody who's going to demand a long contract? And I don't think you can. If you can find a guy that'll take a 3-year deal. Now, I will say this, because you mentioned the Blue Jays signing the other KBO pitcher. If the Blue Jays sign Ponce, right, he's up there, 3 years, $30 million. And then this guy that we get, Weiss, comes in and just tears up the league. Dana Brown is going to look like a genius. And Dana Brown has been heavily criticized for his moves and non-moves. I was harkened back to Game 6 of the 2022 World Series when they re-aired it on MLB over the Thanksgiving holiday, and I'm just going to drop this in there. Listening to James Click talk about the World Series win and the team and the guys, I was like, how is that guy still not the GM? How does that guy win a World Series and get let go? Like, are the egos that big? But we're here. We can't go in the past. We can't bring guys back that we let go. We can't do that. We've got to go forward. And so going forward, no, absolutely not. There's no way that this is all they do. They've got to go out and get more.
Yeah, so going back to what I was talking about earlier, the kind of the numbers came out on Dylan Cease. We all thought that it was a $210 million deal straight up, and that Dylan Cease was making about $30 million per year, but that's not exactly what it is. So the Blue Jays reduced the present day value to $184.6 million it's about $26.4 million per season. That salary would be based on what's the going to be against the CBT, but the deal also includes $23 million signing bonus. So that's what kind of gets it down a little bit. But so $26.4 million, that's not terrible. I still don't think the Astros are going to go out there. If you're looking at what the Astros have available, they have about $25 million right now. They've saved about $15.8 million roughly this offseason, but they're not going to go out there and spend all $25 million on a pitcher. So that's why it's very likely they're going to go out there and try to make acquisition through a trade, to kind of echo what you were saying. And that's why Jake Myers and even Jesus Sanchez, you're going to hear these names a lot over the next couple of days. And a name that a lot of teams are going to be asking Dana Brown about, Brett, you might want to close your ears, is Isaac Paredes. Isaac Paredes is a name that a lot of people are going to be asking for, especially after last year with his contact rate improving and just his patience. And he's exactly what the Astros need on this team. And Dana Brown said, we don't want to trade him. He carries too much value in our lineup. Trading him would weaken our lineup. But if you really want to go out and get that game changer to kind of go behind Hunter Brown, you got to do something.
I think that they are going to go and get someone like a Michael King, who's not going to command $26 million. Okay. And you can play that contract out in a bunch of different ways. And I'm going to say this about the Jake Myers trade. Jake Myers, to me, is worth more to the Astros on the team than he is on the trading block to somebody else.
Yeah.
I know they've tried to make this center field, like, yes, there are a lot of needs for center field. And I know we kind of made that, but the more I talked, and I talked to my friend Mark today, and we were going back and forth about different things the Astros could and couldn't do. And we came to a consensus. Jake Myers is worth more to the Astros here than he is being traded. Unless you put him in some deal where there's other players and you're losing other assets, like you're including Yainer Diaz, like you're including guys that the Astros don't really want to consider trading. But I think Paredes stays because the very reason you stated at the end is that he's too reliable. Now, they're going to listen to anybody. They've kind of said over the last year, nobody's safe, like everybody's on the table, which we know is hogwash because we know they aren't looking to trade
Altuve.
They're not going to trade Altuve. They're not going to trade Jordan. They're not going to trade Pena. They're obviously not going to trade Correa because they're stuck with that contract regardless. But I do think that the Astros will and do have something up their sleeve. I'm not saying that they're going to wow us. I'm not saying that they're going to make y'all all excited and that you're going to be super happy with it, because Astros fans seem to always be pleasantly disappointed around winter ball or winter meeting season. So I guess only time will tell, Eric, with what the Astros actually do. Are they going for the division, or are they going for the World Series with the looming lockout coming after the 2026 season?
Or are they going for their participation trophy? I will never
Oh
know.
my God, Eric. Womp, womp, womp. Good
Yeah.
Lord.
So when we get back, we'll go ahead and talk about the draft because it seems like the first round picks are set before the qualifying offers. We'll go and talk about that. We'll talk a little bit more about Michael Keane, and we'll go and talk about this and more on the Locked On Astros podcast. Thank you for making us your first listen every day. Hey guys, thank you for making Locked On Astros podcast your first listen, whether it's on YouTube, go and subscribe to us, go and make us first listen, Apple, Odyssey, Spotify, wherever you listen to your podcast, go and check us out. My name is Eric Huysman. He is Brett Chancey. We are the Locked On Astros podcast. We are part of the number one podcast network out there. We are the number one Astros podcast out there. We will be here walking you through whatever chaos happens this offseason. But we do know that the Astros are going to have to get creative. They were creative last year, trading Kyle Tucker for a whole bunch of assets. And the Astros are hoping to hold on to some of those assets and make them become a part of the Astros' future. And I know that they're going to have to be creative again because they don't have Jim Crane seems like he's really serious this time about staying underneath the luxury tax threshold. And so you have to look for these bargain bin players. So before we go into the draft, I want to kind of go back to Michael Keane. According to Spotrac, his market value is about $23 million per year. Okay. So he's looking for about a 4-year deal, about $92 million per season. So about kind of a little bit less than what Dylan Cease got. I think Dylan Cease got a lot of money just to go play with the Blue Jays. And he's not that great a pitcher anymore. He has like high upside, but I think that Michael Keane has more of a what have you done for me recently. So I think that you can go out there and get him for cheap, just not pennies on the dollar.
No, not pennies on the dollar, but to me, he's just the guy that fits, Eric. And right. You know what? If I've got to lose a 4th or 5th round pick at this point, I really don't care because the Astros farm system isn't exactly turning heads and they're not exactly producing top 100 prospects at every angle. Now, I will say this. I got a sneak peek of your interview with Colin Price. I watched a little bit of it that you recorded. Y'all are going to have to watch it. Eric did a phenomenal job interviewing Colin. Really, really cool listening to him. I love his perspective. But with someone like, Weiss, like we mentioned Pearson earlier, with these little small moves, integral moves, these are small pieces to a bigger puzzle. And I just think that because they made the decision for Framber Valdez to walk, the Astros had to have in mind that we are going to have to, I'm Dana Brown and you're Jim Crane. And I'm like, look, Jim, here's the deal. We're not going to offer Framber a deal he wants. We're going to give him a qualifying offer so we get that pick. So when we do that, we are going to have to dip our toes a little bit into the deep end to get a quality pitcher. Now we're going to do our best not to go after a guy that wants 7 or 8 years. But if we get a 4 to 5 year guy and he's solid and he's got a good resume, that is a guy that we can build with Hunter Brown. That is a guy that we still got Altuve here, Correa. Look, Correa wants another title. I know you want another title. So let's go get that pitcher because we lost Framber. We exhausted him. We used him up. And now he's somebody else's to deal with. So what do you say? And I think that's what he's going to do. Thank you. I do want to throw this out there though, Eric. Well, you know what? I'll give you a tease for tomorrow night's show towards the end, but remind me because I've got a special guest coming on that I'm excited to tell the fans about. But what do you think, Eric? I mean, don't you think, Eric, let's hope upon hope. Let's not be Debbie Downers. Don't you think that was a discussion that if they knew Framber was going to walk, that they were like, okay, let's start thinking who we're going to replace him with?
Yeah, of course. That was already discussion last year, but they couldn't get them Jim Crane to up the ante to go past 5 years to go past a certain amount for a pitcher. And so I just don't know if you're going to see them go out and just blow the socks off the pitcher like the Blue Jays did. They went out and said, hey, we're putting all our chips in. Take it or leave it. And whatever, if that was a bluff, Cease called him, and now he's playing for them. So I think the Blue Jays saw that pitching helps you go to the World Series, helps you win the World Series. And so they lost 2 big names. So they had to replace them. So they did so. So now the Astros are losing one pitcher, one pretty key pitcher in Framber Valdez. And you don't really have that guy out there unless you're going to go out there and make that trade, or go out there and sign somebody, which I don't know if they're going to do. The history tells you they're not going to go out there and do it.
Yes, it is the history, but it doesn't have to be the future, Eric. It doesn't have to be the way we go forward, Jim Crane.
Confucius says.
Jim Crane, you love a good deal.
Jim Confucius says.
No, not Confucius. But let me tell you something, Jim Crane. Let me give Jim Crane some motivational speaking right now. Jim Crane, come into the chapel of Wheelhouse right now, and let me tell you what you got to do. I know that you're holding on to your pennies, and I know that you're sitting there thinking, what about my bottom line? Well, think about how big your bottom line could be if you go out and get a Michael King or a Ranger Suarez. Imagine the fruits that will be available to you in your club. Imagine the title, taking the title from the Dodgers. How sweet would that be? I mean, what better revenge is there than going back to their house and beating them in their house again? Ranger Suarez, Michael King, these guys get you there. Go get a rise. Heck, I don't care. Sell high. No, don't sell high. Buy high. Sell low. Whatever. See you, Jake Myers. See you, whoever else. Bring us a World Series title. Come on. What do you say? Come into the chapel of Wheelhouse and go get that big arm this year.
All right. All right. Was that your TED Talk?
That was my TED Talk. Hey, real quick, while I'm pumped, tomorrow night, guys, Daniel Kim, who is a KBO insider, an MLB contributor. You've seen him on the World Series. You've seen him on MLB Fox postseason. He's going to join the show tomorrow night. So y'all come hang out with myself, Daniel Kim. It's going to be a really cool interview. We're going to try to get some insights into these KBO pitchers. It'll be fun.
All right, so let's go to switch over to the draft. I know that nothing's totally official yet, but as of right now, MLB released the kind of draft order right now. Things could change according to the draft lottery. But right now, the Astros hold the 15th overall pick and the 28th pick overall, with the PPI pick that from Hunter Brown finishing 3rd place in the Cy Young finish. So let's say that Framber Valdez does sign elsewhere. The Astros would possibly get a pick after the 4th round, not necessarily top 40. So if he signs elsewhere, don't be thinking that we're going to be getting a 1st round pick. But it's a bit of good news that Astros fan got today from Chandler Rome is that let's say the Astros did sign Michael King or a player with a qualifying offer attached. They will not have to give up that PPI pick. They would have to give up likely a 2nd round pick.
Oh yeah, no. I mean, look, I don't know why everybody's been on this kick about we have to give up the pick that we got from Hunter Brown. That's never been a thing. Like, where is this assumption come from that we're going to lose that pick?
Because it's typically your 2nd best pick.
But this pick is tied to Hunter Brown. You can't lose a pick that's rewarded to you from one player and lose it from another player. That would make no sense. That would defeat the purpose of having a PPI pick. You know what I'm saying? There would be no way that the players would agree to that. But I got some really cool stuff. The Astros have a 0.34% chance of getting the 1st overall pick. You know why? Because they didn't make the playoffs. So, Eric, they could get the number 1 pick. Can you
tell me there's a chance?
I'm telling you there's a chance.
Well, that's good. I'm not gonna get too excited there, but the Astros do have 2 1st round picks right now. They have more draft pool money, so they can go ahead and go for like a high upside prep player and then go for more college depth. but they can go ahead and try to improve their farm system, which is lacking right now. Like you have some players, but you don't have as deep of a farm system as some of these other teams do. So maybe they can kind of catch up a little bit with the 2 first-round picks. And so Dana Brown, the reason why the Astros brought you over here was to do the draft right. You got 2 first-round picks. Don't mess this up, bro.
Yeah, everybody's like, "Hey, Dana, better not mess this one up." Good Lord, no pressure, man. Holy crap.
Yeah.
Look, at the end of the day, if you really want to maximize Jake Meyers' value to another team, hey, you know what? Throw in Bryce Matthews. I mean, why not? I mean, the kid's got great upside. And honestly, if you trade him, it'll probably help him in his career because right now I don't see an avenue for Bryce Matthews to play on this team very much.
Right.
Unless they are planning on him being the guy that ends up at second base, but he came up and had a little taste, but he went back, he was kind of back and forth a little bit. But Bryce Matthews may not be in their future plans. And if you want this kid to play and be a major leaguer, go ahead and put him in that package with Jake Meyers and see what you can get with that.
All right. So for tomorrow's show, I don't know if we're going to have 2 shows tomorrow, but we're going to have Colin Price. He is the Astros catching prospect in AAA is what I was trying to say. But he actually had a great season last year, and he played 111 games. Great insight on potentially being a Rule 5 selection by another team. I asked him what that's like, and he just had a lot of great answers. So go and tune in. Is he going to be the next Astros backup catcher? I asked him that. What does he think about catching? He never caught Justin Verlander, but he got to play another position while Verlander was on the mound. So just a lot of awesome questions and answers that he had for that. So go and tune in for that. And Brett, you want to go and mention your guest again?
Yes, Daniel Kim, who is a KBO insider with the Korean Baseball League. He has also been featured on the likes of MLB World Series just recently with the Dodgers postseason. And look, I mean, he's on MLB.TV. So check out my interview tomorrow night with Daniel Kim. We're going to talk KBO. We're going to talk about arms. We're going to talk about what is this sudden spring coming from with all these KBO pitchers and players coming our way. So it'll be an exciting interview, a little extra interview for you guys to come hang out with us.
All right, guys, thank you for making Locked On Astros podcast your first listen. Go and subscribe to us. Go and make it first listen. Apple, Odyssey, Spotify, wherever you listen to your podcast, go and check us out. We'll be back tomorrow. And as we always say,
go Stros. And hey, what about Stephen Kwan? Hit the Kwan. Hit the Kwan.
Please don't.
Great show, man.